Looks like Author Blues will be using a 4-character file name. That's suboptimal. And they're off with this first segment of the run. The Castle Escape, as we tend to call it. The goal of this segment will be to rescue Zelda from the prison and transport her to the sanctuary. And along the way, we'll get the sword and shield, two of the most important items in the run, specifically the sword. I guess the shield isn't really all that important. And then we'll get the boomerang and the lamp. Yeah, Escape is always exciting. It's getting a good time in Escape is a lot about optimizing just Link's basic movement. One of the most important things is entering these doors cleanly. You don't want Link to rub up against the edge of a door. We call it nudging, and it's slower than Link's normal walking speed. It's like they both got good RNG in that room with the green guard coming down at them. You can release the spin almost immediately if he comes down at you. And the worst RNG is if it goes left. Both also getting the boomerang pretty cleanly. Becoming in a ball and chain. This is a very important room. The most important room in Escape. We'll see what strategies they choose to go with. Looks like both are going for 8/. Oh no, and Waffle has the green guard come over and interrupt his kill. This is very dangerous, very dangerous. Wow, okay, so... Waffle having a very tense moment there with the ball and chain guard. This is really sort of the least interesting section of Escape, where they're just backtracking with Zelda. It's not too much to worry about. Once again, they're just trying to make use of little movement optimizations in this game. One of them you'll see Waffle doing here, called stair lag avoidance, where you sort of face left into that statue coming out of the stairway. Those stairways that come into a room, if you move down is your first movement, or even down left or down right. If down is included in your D-pad at all, you will get like 7 or 8 frames of stutter Link will do. And that adds up. It's not a lot. This game runs at 60 frames per second, so it's less than a sixth of a second, but given all the stair doors you use throughout the entire run, runners will want to take advantage of little things like that. This key rat room is also really important. They don't want the key rat to go, oh, Alpha Blue's got a really good one, where it comes towards him. That's the best thing that can happen. And hopefully, oh no, Waffle gets the northwest key rat, where it goes up into that top left corner. It's really a pain, especially since the key, when it's spawning, often, like when the key first spawns, it kind of does this bouncing animation that can push it like up above the wall, and the boomerang often misses it because of that. It's just all around really annoying. Both of these runners will be grabbing the Sanctuary Heart here. It's only 3 seconds out of your way for another heart container, which is pretty big in this game. This game is very easy to die in. They'll be making their way to Eastern real quick. One thing Alpha Blues did and Waffle's about to do here is if you transition this screen high, this guard will always be out of your way at the graveyard. Your runners might often tend to transition low there, and the guard will be walking left to right, and he'll notice you and you'll have to kill him or deal with him, losing a bit of time. Oh, nice. Waffle getting the 20 rupee drop in the Atrak field there. That's pretty good to have it this early. He can modify some of his strats in Eastern to go really fast, since he doesn't have to worry about rupee drops anymore, pretty much. Those cannonballs off their blues just went through are completely random. Ideally, they all shoot on the right side, so you never have to move or waste time dodging them, but that's pretty rare that they do that. Off their blues coming into the 4 southwest room. Normally, you sort of enter a trigger in the middle of that room and 4 southwest spawn around you, but if you enter the trigger in a specific way, you sort of manipulate 2 of them to spawn out of bounds. One tries to spawn in that pot in the middle of the room and one spawning in the wall above you. So they just never even load in properly. And it allows you to save some time only having to kill 2 of them. Both of them grabbing these safety arrows on the right side of the big chest room. Those aren't completely necessary, but if you do skip them, you are kind of gambling on saving time. So, certainly smart in a tourney race to not gamble time. Both runners coming up on the big key trick. The game intends you to kill every enemy in this room to get the anti-fairies to leave that pot where you can then lift it and get the switch, but you can also take a damage boost to be able to get through there with your iframes from the damage, like both of our runners just did there. Both getting through these rooms pretty well. Also going to be coming up on the infamous Zelda Gamer Room, which can throw some really hard RNGs at you with these Stalfos. Yeah, if one of them walks right towards the right wall, it can be really troublesome to deal with. Wow, Waffle got it as well, but handles it really well. I believe both will be doing this top right strategy. It's really fast and not that hard. They're slightly faster ones, but they tend to get much harder than that one. The goal, of course, with any of the Armos setups is to put 2 arrows into the penultimate Armos. Or the last one, so that you can kill the penultimate one and the last one at nearly the same time, skipping the red phase. Both runners doing well to talk to Sahasrahla from about a tile away. That's really good. Now you'll see them executing the spin speed trick, a trick they can do now that they have boots. The goal with this is to press dash on the first frame of their spin attack animation. And when they move on stairs, like the ones on that screen, they can come off with dash speed, just walking around, which is very fast. That's actually one of the best ones in the game. That one right after getting boots saves a few seconds. These going to the library only save half a second each, and Oth misses it. Oh, misses it another time. It's definitely not saving time with that, but it's okay. See if Waffle gets it first try. Yep. And yeah, this one leaving the library also only saves half a second. This one's a little easier movement-wise. You still have to be able to execute the spin dash, of course, but the spin speed movement, which is surprisingly hard to control, is way easier leaving the library. The goal on this screen, Oth Blues Zen, where you use the buffer of the book there, is to not dash into that water that's just to your left. And you'll see Waffle do the same thing here. He avoids dashing in that water just slightly to his left. Link dash is 25% slower in shallow water. And over that long of a distance, I guess, it really adds up. Like it's probably half a second or more slower to dash in that water there. Now they'll be entering Desert, which is, I think, a surprisingly difficult dungeon, even though it looks like they're just going to be dashing around everywhere. It's easy to make a small mistake here that costs a few seconds, especially in a few of the important rooms. One of them is this Deviant kill right here, which Oth executes perfectly. We'll see if Waffle gets it too. Another important room is this Torch Key room, which Oth does very well. There are a number of strategies in this room that all only lose, or only vary by less than a second. There are a lot of rooms like that in this game that'll have like 4 or 5 strategies, all within a second of each other. Off the Blues getting good cannonball RNG. Let's see if Waffle also gets good cannonball RNG. That's nice. Waffle almost dashed out too slowly and got hit on the way out, but it worked out. Off going to get his power gloves. Waffle right behind him. You'll see them walk below on the stairs, leaving power gloves before dashing out. That's to take advantage of some little movement quirks. With Link dashing on stairs. Turns out it's faster to do that, even though it feels completely counterintuitive. Yeah, it's pretty common for people to take a similar route. While Author Blue's going for the Desert 2 spin speed, Waffle doing the same. Waffle took it kind of slow there. That's a really nerve-wracking trick. It only saves 2/3 of a second, and if you touch that ledge at all while in super speed, you will jump immediately. And jumping wastes about a minute. So you have to, read the tablet to open Desert again and go all the way back through it. It's pretty awful. They'll be coming up on the Lamulus fight. This is one of the most important fights in the run. They'll try to use their bow to kill the worms. The bow, 4 arrows will kill a Lamo. 8 sword slashes will do the same. So they'll want to favor the bow. Off doing some good damage. So is Waffle. Oh, Oth having trouble putting the fight away though. That's gonna allow Waffle to take the lead. Definitely not the kind of fight Author Blues wanted. To the point about routing, yes, it is pretty common to see similar routes. Obviously, you're just going to want to do the route that's fastest, which is known empirically. There are a few differences, though, with players wanting to take things safer. So we'll see Author Blues make at least one deviation from the optimal route. Right now, they're both headed towards the Fake Flippers trick, which is a slightly faster way to get to the Death Mountain area on this overworld section. You, of course, know that they don't have the flippers yet. They didn't go buy them, but they're still going to swim here by jumping into the water a pixel from the screen transition, immediately transitioning the screen upon landing in the water. And when they do this, the game doesn't run its check for flippers on the following screen, so they can swim. It saves about 6 or 7 seconds in this overworld section. So, pretty nice time save. Now they'll be escorting the old man. You can dash with the old man, but you just end up dashing at walk speed, so it's not worth the time to actually, it's worthless since you still have to charge the dash. So that's why you just see them walking here. Now the old man will give them the mirror. The screen is really annoying, and also really important that it goes well for the runners. Waffle already took a hit, which isn't good. Sometimes these boulders can rain on you right out of that cutscene, which is really annoying as well. But at least we do have spin speed, which makes, after you get off that short ladder, you'll usually have a clear path through the rest of it. Author Blues, that's a pretty cheap hit there from the game. It's always really annoying when that happens, because, there's no way you can control that or anything. And they'll be entering the Tower of Hera. Yikes. Off taking a lot of damage from that mini Moldorm. It's something you really don't want to have happen. Upstairs in this dungeon can be very trolly. There are other mini Moldorms you have to deal with. There's the Beetle Room. There's the Bomb Jump where you're required to take a heart of damage just to do it. So being at a heart and a half is really not a good health situation. Oh, those Moldorms made me nervous as well. Waffle moving into the Beetle's room, which is a tough room. It's really tough to do what he just did there, where he hit that that Beetle and that switch with a single slash. It's actually very precise. We'll see if Off can do the same. It's still a pretty solid room. And he gets the arrow drop, which is really nice as well. Now they'll be doing the bomb jump. Executed very well by Waffle there. The goal with the jump is just to place a bomb below you and stand within 6 pixels of the gap. And have a bonk go off on that left wall at some point during the explosion. It's actually pretty easy to do. If you watch these runs and think, you know, everything looks impossible, trust me, that trick can be learned in 5 to 10 minutes, probably. Maybe even less. Now they're on everyone's least favorite boss, Moldorm. Waffle actually doing very well with these dashes. Yeah, it gets him. It's very good. Oh no! Yeah, that's the problem with dashes, is sometimes he'll just randomly hit you. It's really bad when you fall. Luckily, Author Blues took a really early fall. The worst thing to have happen is to, you know, get on the last hit and he knocks you off. Because then he's regenerated all of his health when you go up and you just have to redo everything all over again. Taking an early fall is not so bad. Probably only loses 10 seconds or so, 10 to 15. Oh, taking another fall though. I know he's unhappy with this. Luckily he has hit the safety switch earlier in the dungeon, which allows him to access those hearts there. Meanwhile, Waffle coming up on the tree rupees, which is our way to get enough rupees to pay Kiki to enter the first dungeon in the Dark World. He pulls that first tree there, which will always give him 5 blue rupees. This is because to this point in the run, we have A, killed 4 or more enemies, and B, taken damage. And those two factors will make that tree always give 4 blue rupees. And there's no way to avoid either of those two things. So because of the rooms we've gone through where you had to kill enemies, because of the rooms we've gone through where you had to take damage. But after pulling that tree, his goal is to kill 4 enemies in the Lost Woods without taking any damage, and the next tree he pulls will give him red rupees. And that's how we accumulate all of our money. Waffle was very fortunate with his drops in Light World, so if he's aware, he knows he can skip one of the red rupees to save, you know, probably 1/4 of a second or something, 1/3 of a second, something like that. Small amount of time, but, you know, it's still time nonetheless. And he was paying attention, skips that left rupee. Smart play from him. Author Blues getting his Master Sword. Waffle making his way in Aghanim's tower. It's very good to nudge the left side of the gate there. Certain pixels you dash into those blue guards on, they can hit you out of your dash, which is really annoying, not only because you've lost time on that screen, but also because sword beams are super, super helpful coming into Aghanim's tower. And you'll see right away in this Gold Knight's room coming up, and in the room directly after as well. We'll be making use of sword beams to get through this really fast. Just messed that up slightly, but the recovery wasn't too bad. This room has a very specific strat where he wants to dash kill those two enemies, and that's manipulating the drop order of enemies in the game. Every enemy is grouped in what we call a prize pack, where they're in sort of a pool of drops that proceed in a certain order. When you dash kill an enemy, they will never drop anything, and he actually does not want those enemies to start dropping from their prize pack in that room, because their prize pack includes a fairy, and we want that fairy much later in the run from a different set of enemies, rather than right here where they already have full health. We'll see Oth probably using some of the same strategies. Waffle's making his way upstairs. These are where the rooms get really hard. This Red Spear's room, we'll see if he does it. He did that pretty well. It's tough to do. So is this room he's in right now. Waffle having some trouble in the Circle Pots room. That room's really tough to deal with when the guard who doesn't have the key sort of walks in front of you. So he's blocking your path to damage the guard who does have the key. But Waffle does get through it. It's coming up on the Aghanim fight, which is an awful fight, because it's basically all down to luck as to how long it takes. Aghanim works off of a cycle. His first attack will be an energy attack. In energy attacks, you can hit back at Aghanim to damage him, and you need to hit him with 6 energy attacks to finish off the fight. The next 3 attacks in the cycle are 50-50 between being an energy attack and a blue ball. Blue balls you cannot hit back at Aghanim, so they serve just to waste your time. The last attack in a cycle is a lightning phase, which you just stand at the top of the room to avoid, easily every time. Then the cycle repeats. It's like Waffle got 2 blue balls in that first cycle there. Now here's his lightning attack. Every blue ball wastes approximately 6 seconds. If the blue ball triggers an additional lightning phase, it wastes an additional 6 seconds for that to happen. So now Waffle has 3 blue balls. He's definitely hoping he doesn't get any more. But yeah, it looks like he doesn't. And with 3, this first attack of this next cycle here should put Aghanim away, and it does. So 3 blue balls, that's average, the average amount. It does lose a solid 24 seconds to 0 though, so it, players, especially at Waffle's level, they have a 125. They really prefer to get 2 or less. Looks like Oth has also has already gotten 1. We'll be hoping he doesn't get more. He's got his lightning phase. You'll see most players grab the top wall there during that lightning attack. That can clean up some of the lag that tends to happen with that lightning attack. Waffle going for that spin speed, leaving the pyramid. Very nice. think that's our second blue ball. It is completely impossible to manipulate the blue balls. Yes. As far as we know, anyway. I mean, it's been looked into. People understand how the actual code for the RNG seeding works. And yeah, there's no known way to do it. Waffle has Kiki here. He's definitely going to want to avoid taking any damage with Kiki, because Kiki will run away. You'll also notice something he does here, where he sort of canceled his dash down and then walked up into this cutscene trigger that pulled Kiki closer to him in a quick fashion. Kiki needs to hop on Link's back before he can jump up to open the Palace of Darkness dungeon. Pulling him closer to you in that manner makes that cutscene not last as long. So, one thing I'm unsure about, I know Oth in the past has done the old Palace of Darkness route. I'm not sure if he's updated to the newer one that we see Waffle doing here. They're actually roughly the same speed, just the newer one gets an extra bomb. And the bomb actually is worth something. You would have to waste 2/3 of a second later in the run to recover for that. Missing out on the bomb here. Unless you got lucky with a drop somewhere. Meanwhile, Waffle's going to be headed towards the hammer jump. It's one of the harder bomb jumps, along with Ice Palace bomb jump. Certainly. He's going to need to plant a bomb on a specific Y coordinate. And then he's going to need to place Link on a different specific Y coordinate, about exactly 8 pixels higher than where he placed the bomb. And he does it very well there. Ouch, Oth taking some damage. He needs to be careful. He's going to take some damage from the hammer jump, 1 heart. He can't take any damage from anything else if he wants to guarantee having sword beams for the back half of the dungeon. And sword beams are going to be really helpful in the back half of the dungeon, as we will see with Waffle stream pretty soon. Off coming up on a hammer jump, Waffle coming into the Mimic's room. We'll see how they both do. This is very good from both of them. Off doing a bit of a slower strat there at hammer jump, where he doesn't plant the bomb and blow open the cracked wall until after he has made the jump. It's about 4 seconds slower than what Waffle did, but much safer since you give yourself much more time to place Link in the correct position. Waffle executing the turtle room very well, and also getting good luck. Sometimes one or even both of the south turtles in that room will walk away from you, which means you can't even execute the best strategies against them. It's extremely annoying. Almost always loses at least a second. Waffle fighting Helmosaur needs 17 hits on the mask to break it. And then from there he'll either need 8 slashes, or he'll be going for these hammer hits. Oh, he gets a spin there. spin counts as 2 slashes effectively. And so did the hammer hits. That was very nice. He did a spin, 2 hammer hits, and then another spin. The hammer hits in the last phase there, after his mask is off, are pretty tough to execute. You have to get really close to Helmasaur to be able to hit them. Oth also having a nice turtle room. Hopefully Oth has a good Helmasaur as well. You'll notice he's holding his sword out for this first phase, unlike Waffle. What Waffle did is slightly better, but what Oth is doing is a little bit safer. There's a very nice fireball cancel there. Oh, needs to be careful here. Gets through it just fine. There are a couple scary dashes on the screen Waffle's on. This one right here with the bird crossing next to you, and that one right there ending the screen in front of that Snapdragon. Both those enemies do 3 hearts of damage, which is damage you really don't want to take. Especially if you're like Waffle and you're not going to get the magic powder. Thieves' Town is the 4th dungeon in the Crystal Order, according to the game. But it will be the next segment we do. We'll save Crystals 2 and 3 for later, since it's just faster to do it that way. And part of the reason for that is on the way to Thieves' Town, we can unlock the flute, which is, you know, this game's fast travel. It's really nice. Yeah, I've had a little bit of trouble at Moldorm. Every other aspect of the run has been pretty good, though, I would say. Waffle going for the spin speed. It's a really important one. I think it technically only takes like 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds, but I would actually say it's easier to do than the strategy without it. Just because that red guard on that screen, who we refer to as Usain Bolt, because of how fast he moves, it's really troublesome to deal with if you do not have super speed. Waffle unlocking the bird. It's going to be making its way to this warp above the Kakariko village. You'll notice at this warp that Waffle does something a bit weird, where he's approaching the warp from the top right of it, but he goes around and hits the warp tile from the left, which might strike you as a bit odd, like he's wasting time to step into the tile in the wrong way. But there's actually a thing called quick warping in this game, where if you transition between the light and dark worlds on certain horizontal positions, your warp animation gets shortened by 34 frames. So for that particular warp, you want to step into the left part of the tile, just because that's the position that gets you that quick warp. Off making a bit of a detour here, he's going to get his magic powder, which is probably the most overpowered item in the game. Be turning his mushroom into that witch, then transitioning the screen and coming back. Then he comes in here and gets Magic Powder. Magic Powder is extremely powerful. You can turn any anti-fairy or any bunny beam into a fairy with it, and especially in the late game where stuff starts to hit hard, the game actually gives you an abundance of anti-fairies. So that item's super useful, and you will undoubtedly see Oth make use of it. Looks like Waffle's gotten banged up some in this dungeon with the Hell Way, which is that long conveyor run that he'll be backtracking through in a second here. Nice screen there off the blues. Fortunately, I expect most players of Waffle's caliber to be pretty confident and doing the back half of these without taking any damage, or taking very little damage at least. But things can still go wrong. He definitely doesn't want to die in this prison room, which can be a little scary. Goes out of his way for a heart. Not a bad idea to get a little safe in this turning race. Waffle run into a bit of trouble with that red jelly sparking in the middle of the bridge. He gets by it though. Off getting the God Pixel. Oh, but doesn't get the RNG. And Waffle fighting Blind. Blind was the toughest boss in this game for me as a kid. Just because it's complete bullet hell if you don't know what's going on with it, which casually you wouldn't really know what's going on with it. But in a speedrun, you kind of have it completely solved. And you see it there. Most runners who are experienced with this game, myself included, consider that one of the easiest bosses in the Dark World, probably along with Trinex. So Waffle's got Thieves Town down. Now he'll be going to Skull Woods. Meanwhile, Author Blues is going down to rescue the fake maiden. He does have the option of stopping to powder. There's a bunny beam in the top left pot of the prison room. See if he chooses to take that route. Not a bad route, given how many hearts he's missing. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. And you can powder those bunny beams that are under pots without even lifting the pot. It's really nice. Waffle going through this overworld section. Your goals here are to get 600 rupees. You got 300 there, he'll get another 300 later. This will allow him to afford the flippers in a later section of the run. And he'll also be rescuing this frog here so that he can upgrade his sword. The Tempered Sword is very powerful, much more powerful than the Master Sword. And it makes a lot of the run go more, faster and more smoothly, I guess. Certainly the boss fights from here on out. Wow, Oth doing very nice on Blind. That was a very excellent kill on Blind. Wow. It's not often you see that kind of kill from a 130 player. That was really nice. Good job, Oth. See if Waffle gets the fence dash, and he does. That's a fairly tough dash to execute, I guess. You have to hit left and A on the same frame, which puts Link in the correct position to be able to dash up and not bonk the fence. Oh no, Waffle running into trouble here in the mummy statue room. Manages to kill both of them. This isn't too bad of an outcome. It was slow, but he didn't take a lot of damage there. Only took a half heart from one of the jellies. It's definitely not the worst outcome that can happen in that room. Waffle doing the bomb jump to get the fire rod. That one works the exact same way functionally as the jump for the Moon Pearl in Tower of Hera. Oh, Author Blue's not getting on the correct position for that fence dash, and you saw he bumped against the fence. Waffle's coming up on the Mummy Hellway. This is a tough room that can really do a lot of damage quickly. He's going for the fastest strat too. That pot throw is crazy precise. Like, probably didn't look like it, but trust me, it is. He's gonna try to slash this mummy into the spike twice. That kills the mummy very quickly to hit it in that spike like that. And now he's coming in the Mothula fight. Mothula normally takes 4 sword slashes to kill with the Tempered Sword, but if you time that first dash into him, well, you can potentially end the fight in 3 hits. Waffle ends the fight with a poke dash there. That's really nice. Mothula has this sort of bug on it where you saw with Waffle slashing that mummy into that spike a few rooms earlier. Enemies are programmed to take damage from spikes in this game, but obviously Moth wouldn't be very interesting if he could take damage from spikes, since he has some all over his arena. The way the developers got around this was by making him invulnerable to spikes. This kind of sucks though, because he still will quote-unquote take a hit from the spike, but the hit will do 0 damage. So a lot of times when you hit Mothula from the north of the room, or into the north spike wall, it won't do any damage because Mothula has hit the spikes instead of your sword. Using a poke dash like Waffle did to get that last hit there can bypass that though, so very smart play out of him. Now we have Oth coming into this back end of Skullwoods. We'll see how he does this room. He might do the Joe strategy. Yes, he does the Joe strategy. The Joe strategy is less than a second slower than what Waffle did, but way, way safer. And he's also going to powder this Bunny Beam. Also very good. Might have trouble killing this mummy well. Usually Beams interferes with that. That's the only bad thing about using powder there. Waffle taking a lot of damage on this overroll. That's actually really bad. It looked like he got hit by the red guard on the castle bridge, and he also lost the lottery, what we call, on that screen with the ropas. He did make use of back up there to that bush he picked up has a 50-50 chance of dropping a heart. This rock does as well. Gets lucky on both. That crab could have also dropped him a heart that he threw the rock at. Fortunately, it did not. Getting 2 hearts back is pretty good, though. It makes his situation much less dire. Now he will be buying his flippers. He'll be coming in Ice Palace shortly. You might think that this movement is all kind of slow. Like, why not just get out the flute after you get the flippers and flute somewhere rather than having to go through all this crap? But you actually can't use the flute in this section of the map. You have to come all the way out. Like, now Waffle can use the flute on this screen. But it's just faster to come down here and take this whirlpool, which will put you right out in front of Ice Palace. That's faster routing by a few seconds. We'll be coming into Ice. This is a tough dungeon, in my opinion. It's got a lot of really hard rooms, especially after the first, these first several rooms. It really ramps up in difficulty. It gets kind of bad RNG. That's one of the things that's bad about taking damage on the silver roll. So far, Oth has not taken damage on the silver roll, which is really nice. If he keeps it up, he will have sword beams for that first room, so it doesn't matter if the jellyfish with the key is sparking or not. You're still able to kill him if you have sword beams. Waffle, unfortunately, had to wait there. Starting with this room Waffle's in right now is where Ice becomes really hard. This room has a lot of situations to it, based off the RNGs you get. Waffle getting through very good, given the RNG he got. The section of Ice is like a mini gauntlet, just like really tough rooms back to back to back. This conveyor room is also really hard, especially without beams, which Waffle lacks. Yeah, he's gonna have to wait here. It's really unfortunate getting electrified there. Yeah, that's really frustrating. The way the floor will change positions on you can really mess with your head in that room. Very excellent Ice Palace bomb jump, though. This room, he'll want to kill all these penguins in one spin. Gets it pretty good. Gets pretty good door alignment, too. If you slash your sword with very specific timing while walking into that spike, you don't get back boosted very much. I missed where Oth took damage on the silver world, but he managed to get his heart back there. And also managed to get a bomb drop from that Zora, which is really nice. Waffle's going to be coming up on Cold Stare, which is a hard fight, and Waffle cannot afford to take barely any damage from him. He's going to use his full magic meter to melt the ice block surrounding Cold Stare, and he cannot afford to miss a single shot. If you miss a shot, fight's over, you have to mirror out. And from here, he'll try to trap Cold Stare up in the corner, but misses the first spin. This is really bad. He cannot get hit by the ice falling from the ceiling. He cannot get hit by the puffs. Yikes. Opting to go for spin attacks here, mostly. He gets one of them down. Oh man, gets another one down. Wow, that was actually really good. Usually missing that initial spin on Cold Stare is basically a death sentence. Like, um, it's just, you know, if you've watched any of this tournament, I'm sure you've seen someone with that first spin and promptly die not long after. It's really hard to recover from that. So, I mean, it wasted a ton of time and might allow Author Blues to make up some time here, but I'm sure he's just really happy to be alive and just survived after that fight. Let's see if Thoth can execute these rooms. Well, Waffle accidentally used a fire rod shot there, thinking he was on the mirror. Waffle would be headed straight to Swamp Palace, which is gonna allow him to catch his breath after that rough Cold Stare fight. Swamp, of course, is the intended second crystal in the Dark World. So, doing it this late, we're quite overpowered for it. It's not really a worry that you're gonna die. Meanwhile, Oth making his way into the Cold Stare fight. He died here in one of his tourney races. Hopefully he makes it through this time. Gets that first spin. Traps Cold Stare in the corner. This is going well. Yeah, that was pretty solid. And he does manage to gain some time back on Waffle there, for sure. I would say he's approximately 2 minutes behind Waffle, roughly. Waffle's going to be moving through Swamp. Swamp is almost like you've gotten another Escape Eastern segment or something. It's a lot about just optimizing Link's movement. You can lose a surprising amount of time, though, to poor play, poor execution, poor movement, poorly reading or reacting to RNGs. Waffle has a bad RNG here where he's going to have to do something about the skeleton in his way immediately after this cutscene. Author Blues might do the safer route here where he goes and gets Ether and Ice Rod, yeah. He'll be going to get Ice Rod and Ether before the Swamp segment, which is a bit slower, roughly a second, give or take, but it's safer because your hearts matter less for Swamp than they do going into Mire. So even though he got hit by that crab there, it isn't going to matter too much, because he's going to be going to the Swamp right after this. And yeah, I'll be climbing Death Mountain to get Ether here. Need Ether to open up Misery Mire. Waffle's headed towards Swamp Big Key. And then he'll be backtracking all the way back to the Shy Chest. Swamp has a lot of backtracking, unfortunately. It also has a lot of nice uses of hammer dashes, though, which are always cool to see. Fluting to 4, gonna be starting the sequence for entering Swamp Palace. There are some optional bomb and arrow pickups you can get in Swamp. Waffle will definitely want to grab some though, since he's a little low. I imagine he'll grab the arrows and the bombs and what we call the restock room. Coming up. And yeah, he grabs both there. We'll be coming up on the Argus fight pretty soon. Argus is an interesting fight. If you are not going for the zero cycle, it's not very complicated or worrisome at all. But if you are, which I'm pretty sure Waffle will be going for, it's a pretty tough fight. So we'll see if he gets it. Yeah, looks like he has a good setup. Oh no, misses the... I think he's still got it. He's still got it. Wow. That's very good. After Argus moves 3 times, he will shoot out his puffs in like a sort of hurricane type attack, I guess. They like expand around him and then contract back. That cycle takes about 5 or 6 seconds, so being able to kill all the puffs before that happens is really nice. Waffle is going to be getting his Ether nice run now. And you'll see why it's a little bit faster for him, because he's going to have the hook shot out for this section. Oh no, but unfortunately gets squirrel blocked there. It's pretty bad. I don't know if it was faster for him to reload the screen or not. But probably not a bad idea. He'll be able to do what we call sword climbing here. And you'll get a good look at it here on this long ladder. You see how fast he climbs the stairs. If you hold out your sword and do a hookshot dash, that's what allows you to do that. Waffle's going to be fluting to the ice rod. Off entering the back half of Swamp. He'll want to get some arrows as well. He'll get this spot here. He'll also likely get the spot in the restock room. Awful. I think he goes for the simplified 1 cycle strategy, which is only 5 or 6 seconds slower, but is very easy to do. Yeah, he's just gonna slash the puffs. Waffle coming up on one of the best rooms in the game, Mire 2, as we call it. Has some Wizrobes. You want to kill them all in one cycle before they can disappear. Waffle does just that. Also gets good Fire Snake RNG, allowing him to take the top route to the stairs there. That's really nice. I think that's like a half second faster or so. We'll see if he also manages to get good Fire Snake RNG here. Unfortunately not. Where this Fire Snake comes in front of you, you have to slow yourself down a little bit. It loses quite a bit of time. Waffle getting a low 107 torches. He'll certainly be looking for a 127 in this run if he can play well in the end game, which is certainly no guarantee. The end game can be pretty dang brutal. There are a lot of rooms that can really take a downturn, can really go sideways. Can really make you lose a lot of time, including some still left in this dungeon. Off opening up Mire. Waffle's going to be probably going for the Spark Gamble here. Yeah, he does. And he gets good Fire Snake RNG to be able to go for it. Unfortunately, gets a back boost. Ideally, what happens there is the Spark forward boosts you towards the stairs. But it's not too bad to get a back boost. Waffle's going to be coming downstairs, and Mire, which has some deceptively tough rooms, including this first room, where the game is actually quite picky about how you place this block on this switch. Waffle executes it very well, though. Unfortunately, Waffle messes up that strategy a bit. Not too big of a deal. Off with a 109.15 torches, so he's roughly 2 minutes and 10 seconds behind Waffle, I guess. At least at their torches times. We're at the point where the lead can still change pretty quickly. This Vitreous fight is about a 2-minute time loss if you die to it. Oh, Waffle made me a little nervous here with how he approached it, but... manages to get the kill down. That fight's pretty nerve-wracking because the best strategy to do is to take damage from the slime surrounding Vitreous, which does 1 heart of damage. So you can stand among the little eyes and do those big spins to damage a bunch of them. Unfortunately, the little eyes do 4 hearts of damage, so if you do some part of it wrong, where your iframes come off while you're touching a big eye, or one of the little eyes or something, things are gonna go bad really fast. Waffle has survived it though. Let's hope Oth does the same. Oth has a bit of an easier route to it, or road to it. This dungeon forces you to take some hearts of damage just from the spike key and stuff. But Oth has powder, so he'll be able to completely refill his health before entering the Vitreous fight. Wow, Waffle doing the Waffle House drive-through. That was very good. It's very tough to keep super speed through that whole screen. Unfortunately, he has taken a couple hearts of damage. It's not too big of a deal going into Turtle Rock, but you really don't want to get into taking too much on the world. Because he's going to want to do a damage boost strat in the roller room after he gets the small key, the first small key in the dungeon. Oh, this is making me really nervous with how this video is going. Okay, he manages to get through it. So here Waffle's gonna light these 4 torches. Then he's gonna hookshot to the left torch. The reason he does that, this is a common question, why don't you hookshot the right torch? The left torch is closer to the door, so the camera doesn't have to scroll as far when it puts you back at the entrance to the room. Here's the damage boost I was talking about. Well, first he's gonna use the little hookshot iframes trick, where the game won't damage you while the hookshot is extending and retracting. But that's the damage boost I was talking about, where he's going to take damage from that top roller to be able to walk through the bottom one. It's the fastest way through that room, but it costs you 3 hearts. So it's a little risky. But if you recall all the way back in Aghanim's Tower when I mentioned that prize pack manipulation strategy on those 2 fast nights, that gives you a good opportunity to... Oh no, he's getting blocked in the chain chomps from there. This is really frustrating situation. These chomps do 4 hearts of damage if they touch you. He's gonna get attacked soon. Okay. But like I was saying about the prize packs, these pokey enemies, they have a good chance to drop a fairy since he did that strat in Aghanim's Tower. So... hopefully he'll get a fairy coming up, and that'll make him way more comfortable with the dungeon, as well as make some runs in the dungeon faster, since you have sword beams. Gets a tough RNG here. He does get the fairy. Oh no. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get all the way up to beams. That bottom left Pokey RNG in that room. The Pokey has 4 places you can go. Up left, bottom left, up right, bottom right. That bottom left one can actually be the fastest one, but it's also the hardest one by a good bit to execute. Next, Waffle's going to come into the double Pokey room. These Pokeys also have 4 different things they can do, but since there are 2 of them, there are actually 16 unique possibilities. It gets a pretty friendly pattern there. To get through pretty quickly. Off also doing the damage boost strat in the roller room. Taking a little bit of time to get that heart and magic there. Hopefully Oth gets a friendlier chomps room than what Waffle had to do with. Does get the fairy right away, which is really nice. Looks like his right path is clear. Yeah, that's really good execution there out of Oth. Waffle doing the laser skip, where if you dash through there with specific positioning and timing, you can avoid the laser. Game intends you to get Mirror Shield in this dungeon, of course, to deal with that, but fortunately for us, the laser only has a hitbox at the very front tip of it, so we can kind of abuse that to fit through without ever needing the Mirror Shield. Waffle had a rough Crystal Maze room there. Overall, I'd say Waffle's kind of had a tough dungeon. Looks like Oth has also gotten the bottom left pokey RNG, but it looks like he managed to get through it pretty well. Waffle defeating Trinex. Oth running in a little bit of trouble there, just couldn't do it quite fast enough to beat the roller cycle. Ends up taking some damage. Now Waffle will be headed into Ganon's Tower. Oth gonna be doing the laser skip. Oh no, accidentally bonks and falls. It's gonna lose a little bit of time getting back. So, Ganon's Tower is definitely the most fun dungeon. Pretty much every room has something interesting happening. This room Waffle's coming into now is actually surprisingly difficult to do fast. And so is this room. Optimally, you can skip that spike cycle if you're very fast. See Waffle using more of that hookshot invulnerability. Be coming into the warp maze. Oth finishing up. Looks like he's still a little over 2 minutes behind Waffle at this point. You'll see Waffle skip this last little warp tile section by bonking over. I'd say it's about 5 seconds. We'll be coming up on Ice Armos. In GT, you have to fight all the Light World bosses again. Each of them has a new little twist to them. For Armos, it's that the fight is happening on ice. Which can be pretty annoying if you don't have a good handle on the ice physics. We'll see if Waffle has a good fight. This is one of those rooms where when it goes wrong, it really goes wrong. So I'm sure he's breathing a sigh of relief to be past it. Now he's heading upstairs in GT, which is really, really tough. These Mimics rooms in particular are pretty tough. Yeah, he made that look way easier than it actually is. See if he has a good second room. Yes, very good second room. Those were very good Mimics out of Waffle. Now he'll be headed into the Gauntlet, which is 5 consecutive rooms where you have to kill every enemy in the room. They're pretty difficult, mostly just because a lot of it's just reacting to the RNG you've been given in the room. There's no, like, you know, set strategy you can do, necessarily. Taking a lot of damage in that third room. Now he'll be moving into the Lamolus refight. The twist with this one is that there's a little Medusa shooter in the bottom left. They can actually be kind of annoying if the fight goes longer than one cycle, which for good players usually isn't the case. Waffle does get the one cycle fight. It's a lot easier to do that with the Fire Rod. Showing off some nice Kane strategies for these Wizrobes. Meanwhile, Oth is making his way into Icearmos. Hopefully he can have a good fight. He also has enough arrows to just mirror out directly after Big Key. Oh no, Oth accidentally kills the last one instead of just putting 2 arrows into him. Oh, this is rough for Oth. Fortunately, he did have all those arrows. Ordinarily, if you had a lower arrow count there, you would have had to clean up the fight with the sword, which is quite a bit slower. Pretty rough time lost there, but still chugging along. Waffle's going to be coming up on the Moldorm refight. This one just has a slightly different arena. I actually think this arena is easier than the first Moldorm's arena, just because it doesn't have the middle hole dynamic or anything. But Waffle takes a fall. Oh no. A fall loses about 15 seconds, somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds. This fight's also quite a bit easier than the first one to me because you get to just slash the tail once and then spin attack, and then he's dead. And you skip that whole rush phase where he's going 50% faster or whatever, or 100% faster, whatever it is. His 2x speed. Then, of course, you have the Aghanim 2, or the Aghanim refight, what we call Aghanim 2. This time he brings some clones with him. They make the fight function pretty much completely different. This is the most different boss fight, for sure, of the refights. The clones will always shoot an energy attack. On certain cycles, the real one can shoot a blue ball, like we just saw there with Waffle. Waffle moving into the Ganon fight. We'll see, first of all, if you can one-cycle the two first phases. This first phase being where he throws his trident. It looks like he has one cycled that, and then the second phase being where he summons this ring of fire bats. Oh, Waffle taking some damage. That's pretty bad. See, he does get to use some hookshot invulnerability. Oh, that was really close to a death. Holy heck. If any of those fire bats had touched him, that would have killed him instantly. They do 4 hearts of damage, so... This third phase is the simplest phase by far, but now he's moving into the fourth phase. If you've never watched the speedrun before, you may wonder how he's going to manage to get through this phase without the silver arrows. There's a little window when Ganon is starting his warps where you can actually spin attack him with the Tempered Sword. And you'll see it there from Waffle getting the hits in. Ideally, you're able to get in 3 spins per Torchlight. It looks like he's doing a pretty good job. Oth coming into the Moldworm 2 fight. Hopefully he doesn't take a fall. He was also able to use Powder in the room before. And we have Waffle finishing up. Looks like he's going to get a 127. Yeah, looks like he's got a 127.58. Now we have Oth coming into Aghanim 2. Looks like he got 2 hits on his first 2 cycles. Should hopefully be set up for a 3. Oh no, he must have only gotten 1 somewhere. Does get through the 4th cycle though. Now Oth will be fighting the pig. Be looking for the same things out of him. He wants to do 12 hits worth of damage in this first phase. You can get 1 hit right there for free. This double spin on the trident counts as 4 hits, since you spin him twice. Looks like he got that pretty well. He has a bad Firebat cycle because of the messed up Ice Armos. A variable in Ice Armos used to determine their circular motions is reused here for the Firebats. So if you don't have a good kill on the Ice Armos, you get a different Firebat pattern. But he handled it pretty well, actually. Ganon unfortunately warping a lot here. Wow. I think he's gotten 6 or 7 in a row. Maybe more. This is pretty bad. Okay, he finally stops. And looks even more warping. This is really bad RNG there. He elects to go for the torch glitch with the lamp, which is much safer than doing it with the fire rod, even though you waste a second in the menus. And yeah, the secret with the torch glitch is just to light the left one before the right one goes out. I believe it's a 16 frame window when the left one has gone out before the right one does. So it's a pretty nice little window to hit it. made even easier by using the lamp, because you can just spam the lamp, really, and you don't have to worry about it eating into much of your magic. But looks like Oth has killed Ganon. Oh, he's standing awfully close to the edge here. Okay, he knew to hold down there. That was good. So yeah, Hoth finished up. Let's see if I can get either of them in for a little bit of an interview.
Yo.
I am joined now by the one and only Author Blues. Congrats on the run.
Thanks. That would have pretty much tied my PB if I hadn't on Hera.
Yeah, that was definitely your roughest segment, probably, with the 2 Moldworm falls. That was really unfortunate.
Yeah, I lost a minute on that split, and that was a minute off of my PB, so...
Yeah. Everything else seemed pretty solid to me, though.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that run overall.
You had a few pretty good boss fights. I was really enjoying the blind fight. That was really good.
Yeah, I was really happy with the few. You pointed out the blind fight. I don't think I've ever gotten one that absolutely perfectly matched the script.
Yeah, that was perfect. So that was really good. Is that your best time in the tourney so far?
Oh yeah, by a county mile. That's my first run in the tournament that didn't involve a handful of deaths. So
yeah, I remember there was the one race where you died to Gold Stare, maybe twice, I think it was. So
I think you've described every race I've had in the tournament so far.
So really nice to get one within a minute of the PB. That'll get your seeding for the brackets in pretty good shape.
I needed pretty much the upset of the century to make it out of groups. I lost my other race in groups, so I don't think I progress out.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Yeah. I ended up no, it's good. I ended up getting upset by not Antinomy. Who was the other one in my group? I feel bad that I suddenly am blanking on a name. Oh, Jet. We were within 1 second of one another. I had a pretty rough race, and he beat me by 1 second because of it.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, maybe it was the bird carry, maybe it was the 9 cycle lagging him too. Honestly, who knows? But I'm pretty happy with it. I wanted to join the A Link to the Past tournament, and it's pushed me to get closer to my sub 90 goal. So.
Yeah, I think you're definitely getting close, and doing it with powder is no easy feat. You basically have to be a 128 player almost in skill and execution to do it while getting the powder. So
my sum of best is 128 flat with powder. So
yeah, that means you're definitely getting there.
One day I'll do all the things in a row.
Are you going to continue playing the game after sub 130?
Oh, after sub 130, it'll probably be a lot more races rather than RTA, but I'm definitely still pushing for sub 90. So.
Yeah, it's fun to see all the new players going for sub 130. In part because of this tournament happening, it's definitely driven activity for this game way up. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I learned this game about 2 years ago, but I got a 135 and stopped playing it for a year and a half. So
Yeah, you and John Carls were that way, I think. And,
yeah, and then we both came back because of the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, huge shout outs to Pinkus for the practice hack. I mean, there's no way any of us idiots would be playing half as well as we do if it weren't for the prac hack. So
Yeah, huge shout out, Sam. I would not have a 124 without that practice hack. I maybe spent more time with that hack than the actual game. So
it makes it super easy to like run through all the highlights before a race, or just to sit down with something important and really time it out.
Yeah, it's really awesome. If you are watching this and want to get into speedrunning and want to know more about this hack, definitely join our Discord. We freely give out all sorts of resources for newer runners of the game, and it's a fun time.
They're giving away all the secrets.
Yeah.
I might have won that race with a one character file name, but who really knows?
Of course, we have Waffle switching over to F-Zero, one of his favorite games.
A good game.
We'll see
thanks
what's
for
coming up
commentating.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for racing. It was a really fun race to commentate. You were both playing, parts of it were really good. It was just really fun to talk about how good y'all were executing some of the rooms and some of the bosses and some of the tricks. So it's really fun.
Shout outs to Josh. He's probably, I mean, at least from the races I've seen, he's probably done more commentary than any group of people combined.
Yeah, I've certainly been doing a lot. It's been fun though. I enjoy commentating. So we'll see what's coming up on the schedule for speed gaming here. Yes, I am still signed into my hacked Metatron account. Alright, today is Thursday, April 19th. Looks like coming up, there's a lot of randomizer happening. There's one happening right now over on Speed Gaming 5, it would seem. There's one starting soon at 4 at the top of the hour on Speed Gaming 2. There's Diddy Kong Racing going on Speed Gaming. And there's also a randomizer happening over on Speed Gaming 3. Coming up on Speed Gaming 4, I don't think we have anything until 5 p.m. where there's another link to the past randomizer. Their spring tournament is definitely going to be something fun to watch if you like randomizer. And that's definitely dominating this channel, or the Speed Gaming Network. So tune into that if you like. I don't think we have another NMG tournament race today. Or no, we do.
There's one at 8, I believe.
Yeah, there's one at 8 on Speed Gaming. So tune into that if you're really into NMG. But yeah, with that, I guess we'll shut it down for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the tournament organizers, Greenham and Scrivo, for putting on this tournament. It's been really fun. Thanks for Speed Gaming for hosting us, and thanks to Author Blues and Waffle for putting on this race today. It was really fun, guys.
Peace.
Later all.